Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in for my Tuesday night update. It is December 14th, 2021. Today, if you were in Southern California, there was a downpour. I went to work and, I was expecting like this heavy traffic that day, like today, but the traffic was very steady. I only ran into one car accident on the way to work in the morning, and I was completely shocked that I got to work like earlier than I thought. I'm like, everybody should drive this way, like very cautiously steady, you know, instead of maniacs. But yeah, and even on the way coming back from work, I guess everybody worked from home today, or they called out because there's this lady who works with my department, and we were supposed to get free lunch today, so she didn't come, so we ended up postponing the free lunch. So I had to had to go out to get something, in the pouring rain because the taco truck that comes on Tuesday didn't show up because there was a downpour. But like it was. I wish I took the day off today because like it was definitely a nice day just to stay home and watch some movies and just be cozy. And for those who were able to stay home today on this rainy day, I'm very envious. But yeah, but on the way coming back from work, the traffic was also like very light. Oh my, I thought it was going to be very congested, like a nightmare, because we don't know how to drive in the rain. But again, to my surprise, it was free all the way until I hit Valley View, like on the five, and then everything was just like bumper to bumper. I'm pretty sure there was a major car accident down in the five north, and I ended up exiting Carmenita, by the Lowe's, and I took the side streets going back home because it was just bumper. It wasn't moving, and I was getting frustrated because I was doing great. I was doing such great time. But I ended up showing up at my regular time, which is like close to five, and then I made dinner, and actually, John Alex, he tried this new dish that you saw from TikTok. It was like parmesan, a block of parmesan, not parmesan, a block of feta cheese and tomatoes, and you put it on bake, and then you boil some pasta, and then before you place the pasta in there, you stir the cheese and the tomatoes around in the dish, and then you toss this pasta in there and you stir it, you mix it, and it's like a pasta dish, and it tasted pretty yummy. Actually, Alex ended up not liking it because he said he just got tired eating it. But it was like very creamy, and I think because we ate it with like a side of salmon, but I think I needed something fried next to it, like chicken milanesa or some fried shrimp. I think it would have tasted better. But hey, Ariana, hey. But yeah, like if you guys know that John, he's a traveling salesman, and he's hustling solar panels right now. So he's 3 hours away from me. So he left last week, and I had a little moment when he left. I teared up because I was coming back. It was the same week I had my father's funeral, and then John left, and then it was like, like come back. uh, but yeah, it was. We're missing John here, and it's very quiet. We ended up watching Lost in Space. We binge watched that series because it's the last season of Lost in Space on Netflix. It was really good. If you guys haven't checked it out, I like that show. It's pretty good. I think they updated it great. And the '90s movie wasn't too bad either. But this show is really like I think it's kick-ass. And we also started watching this new show called Murders in the Building, starring Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, and it's really good. And for those who don't know, it's on Hulu, and it's a show about these three people who create a podcast, hey, and they're trying to solve a murder in their building in New York, and they're trying to. It's a pretty good web, like because in the continuing stories, like you think it's one of the characters, but it turns out it's not the character. It's some other character. Like they still haven't figured out who murdered the central person in that show, and it's really good. I think you guys should check it out. It's fun. Tina Fey appears on it, like as like it's really good. You guys need to check it out. And what else have you been watching? I guess that's it. We've just been watching that, and since John's been you know uh he's been gone for past few days. It feels like forever. This Saturday, I was able to shoot a promo for our Christmas special that's happening December 18th, this Saturday at 5 p.m. And I took advantage that John wasn't home because like we're usually watching TV in the living room since nobody was watching TV and Alex was playing video games upstairs. I took the opportunity to bring this set that you see behind me downstairs, and that took like uh it took the whole day. Like I started at 4. Little by little I started to bring objects from from the second floor to the bottom, and I was just like trying to do the production design, seeing it in my head, working with the different angles. And then what ended up happening is like my one of the halo lights that I have in front of me, like as I was taking it apart to go downstairs, it fell apart, and I was trying to put it together, and I'm like, of course, something would break as I'm doing this. So it was like 7 o'clock when that happened. So I rushed to TJ Maxx to buy a new Halo light, because that Halo light also it's also my tripod. I use it as my tripod for my phone. So I needed it. I needed it. So it wasn't too bad. It's TJ Maxx. It was a bargain. It was only $20 for a new Halo light. But I was trying to put together the old one, and it wouldn't stick on. It was kind of comical because I took it apart, and then it just fell apart. And so I bought a new one, and then I set that up, and it took me a good 3 or 4 hours to kind of like construct, like set the set. And then my buddy John Lance, he came down at 10 o'clock, and I still didn't dress myself, because I needed to we had to block the scene, as in like what I was gonna say and how, like, what camera angle is the best camera angle. And then after it got dressed up, like I told John Lance, like, oh, you have to be my eyes, man. You have to make sure my zipper's not down. And it's like, oh, okay. And he got it, and he was helping me. He's like, oh, your flaps on your suit, they're kind of like crunched up. You have to, flatten that out. And he was like fixing my Santa hat. And my Santa hat, like in the beginning, it was like smushed, and we are trying to figure out how to like, puff it up. And we put like a shirt in there, and it just looked funky. It looked like the hat had a boner. So we took that apart. We just kind of like puffed up the hat, and yeah. And for those who are wondering, like what I was drinking wasn't whiskey. It was actually the black tea. But it's like the illusion of me drinking, like something alcoholic, like a libation, as I'm, selling my show for this Saturday. So I hope you guys watch our show this Saturday. It's going to be a fun event. We're going to talk about our favorite moments of 2021, uh, your one big regret, and what you're gonna do next year to not live any more regrets. And also, we're also going to review. We're also going to talk about Christmas miracles. We're also going to talk about. Do you guys remember back in the day, like, elementary school students put on like a Christmas pageants? You know what I mean? They would do like concerts, and we're going to talk about that, and how like we were kind of like the last generation of doing that before everything became like PC, which totally makes sense, because like imagine being like the little Jewish kid and everybody's singing like Santa and Jesus songs, and elementary school in a public school. Yeah, so yeah, it was kind of like the last time we sort of did that in a public school. But yeah, we're gonna relive old Christmassy memories and talk about the future, and it's gonna be a great show. My friend Tommy's gonna be on, and also my friend Pepe is gonna be on, and those guys are it's gonna be a guys' night. It's gonna be a guys' Christmas night, but we're gonna have a lot of fun. I guess what else? Oh yeah, on the way coming back from work, and well, also like yesterday and this past weekend, as I'm trying to say, is that two icons passed away, and one of them was Vicente Fernandez, and he died at the age of 81, and he died because let me read this little snippet from the bottom. Just give me a little bit. The cause was complications following surgery for a cerebral spine injury after a bad fall last August. So his health was deteriorating, and he passed away, and he was 81. And to my surprise, like they buried him right away. Like he died this weekend, and he's already buried. I'm like, that was really quick. And he's, if you grew up like in Latin, like his music. He was like the music, like la ranchera music. That was him. Like he was the king of that style of music, and he like, even though like he is like everybody knows his music and all that, and I do admire his career and all that. He was still like represented that toxic masculinity, with being like having like a wife and probably some mistresses, and getting drunk and all that. And I don't know if you guys know this story, but I heard a story where like he needed like a liver transplant, and he didn't want to get a liver transplant because he was scared that he might get a a liver from a homosexual or drug addict, and he didn't want to be gay. And that was like, I heard that story was real. And he was a homophobe, and he didn't out there's a meme circulating that he didn't talk to Juan Gabriel because of his homosexuality. And yeah, he wasn't. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was like, like he's 80 years old. Like I I'm pretty like he it doesn't surprise me that it felt that way. It's just like those old timers. They had that old mentality of the old world. But he was a cultural icon, and he's going to be missed regardless of his views. But also, here's another story. Another iconic artist that died this weekend was Anne Rice. She was the writer of the Interview with the Vampires and the books. And she passed away from a stroke, and she was 80. And it was kind of strange because both of these guys, that were in their 80s. Vicente was 81 and she was 80, and she died of a stroke. And she was a friend of the LGBT community. And I'm going to read to you guys a quote that I saw today on Facebook, and this pretty explains like her views on homosexuality and like transgender people. So the meme says, Anne Rice was a better writer and better person than J.K. Rowling, and this is what she said. Uh, this is what this is what it was written. I was entirely comfortable telling her I had through my journey discovered I was a trans woman. In typical Anne fashion, she thought it was fabulous. She told me at the time that she believed transgender people were sacred, that we possessed a unique gift of life experience that few ever would, which will allow us to see the world from a view from the greatest height. She shared with me stories of trans figures in history that she had learned about her own extensive studies. The most fascinating figures in mythology were always transgender or genderless, she once told me. And in so many cultures reaching back thousands of years, transgender and intersex people were defined, perceived as wise and powerful. So that's a great quote from from Anne Rice. And I watched her movie Interview with a Vampire when I was a very young boy, and that was the first time I saw two men kissing each other. It's like, what, guys could do that. But yeah, she's gonna be missed in the literary world. And let's see what you guys are commenting. See, Deb says, "Cool, my bro and peeps, my all-time favorite author." I know. We have a lot of books I haven't read about her. Like John Haslam has his collection, and Ariana says, "This makes me love her even more. Thanks for sharing." And you're welcome. Like I follow a lot of diverse people in my social media, and I'm always learn like viewing what people post on my Facebook. Even like I don't just like scroll through it. You know what I mean? I take time and read people's posts because they take the time of their day to share a little bit part of their their life. But yeah, that was those two great artists that are going to be sorely missed. And it sucks that they they died back to back. And I hope they don't take what's it called, Betty White this year, because she's still going. She's like the Energizer Bunny. She just keeps on going and going and going and going. And I don't know. I think she might. Is she like already 100 years old? I'm not too sure. But yeah, let's see. The books are way better, and yeah, the books are always better. Um, but yes, if you guys are watching this on Facebook, please remember to hit follow. And if you guys can, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Casually Christian, presented by Livestream My Event. And also, if you guys want to listen to my podcast, please scan the QR code that's on the corner, and it'll take you directly to our SoundCloud podcast. And we're going to add some future content there. We're approaching the new year quickly, and I have a lot of show ideas that I want to tell you guys about soon. But I'm keeping it close to the cuff. I have to work things out. But it's going to be really fun next year. It's going to be like our third season of Casually Christian, which is pretty surreal. Like we started out very long ago, like not very long ago, but we started like 2 years ago in my old apartment. Emmanuel doing, he hit me up trying to do do a podcast? And I said, sure, let's do it. And our first episode was the Roswell anniversary special with I did with John Lance, and I did it when I still had hair. But yeah, so we're going to the third year, and then we're going to go in the fourth year and fifth year of Casually Christian. Yeah, so yeah, please share our page, our content, so we could grow our community. And well, I'll see you guys on for our next update on Thursday. And have a good night and be safe if you guys are driving out there in the rain. So see you guys. Bye.